Hello and welcome. If this is your first time visiting, a special welcome to you. We got a special feature today. We are doing a driving tour of Negril, Jamaica, particularly focusing on the West End. And this is a bit of a long video. It's about 40 minutes. And depending on where you're watching it, it will be in different parts or one long video. My name is Throp X, by the way, and here on my channel, we really discuss all things Jamaica. But today, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a bit of tour of Negril, and we're just going to flow with it. We're just going to flow with it and see where this takes us. So we are starting this tour off on Norman Manley Boulevard, otherwise known as the Beach Road at Travelers Beach Resort, which is my family's hotel. And of course, we gotta wait for the traffic, but across there on the left side of your screen, that is our NEAT Resource Center, or the Negril Education Environment Trust Resource Center. NEAT is my family's nonprofit organization, which focuses on education for young people. So right now we're heading south on Norman Manley Boulevard. Pretty beautiful day, as you can see. I don't know what the temperature was when we filmed this, but it was nice. It was a nice day. And so we're heading towards downtown Negril, and on your left is the shared user path. So that's running, walking, biking, and that goes for a little bit over 2 miles. To your right is the Negril Beach Park. It has a basketball court and the beach, of course, and just really open space. Unfortunately, it's closed right now. They have plans to do some refurbishing. And then we just passed the Negril Community Center. And then we're also passing the craft market on your right side. And this is the South Negril River and Bridge. And we're heading to the Negril roundabout. Of course, going into the roundabout, you have to give way. And if you're in the roundabout, you have the right of way. And we are going west end, so we're going to be taking a right here at the roundabout and veering left. And so here downtown, this is a few shopping centers, if you will. There's Little Caesars Pizza on the right, Popeyes, Burger King. There's a Digicel store down here as well. And on the left coming up is Scotiabank, which some people might be familiar with depending on where you are from, but it's a Canadian bank. And I guess officially this is where the west end of Negril starts. And on your left here is Corner Bar, which is a pretty popular restaurant. Great local food. Haven't had it in a while, but the reviews continue to be very good. And on the left, that's Bender's Plaza. That's the Negril Chamber of Commerce owned plaza. And on the right, obviously, we have the sea. Unfortunately, I don't think we panned right, but you basically can see the entirety of Negril on the right-hand side if you were to look right. You need to get a 360 camera next time, right? Anyway, on the left is the Negril Post Office, not in the greatest of shapes, but that is our post office. And then right after that is Samuel's Hardware on the left. And that's, I would say, probably the most popular hardware store in Negril. Mostly every business uses them. And then on the left, the green building, that's Quality Traders. That's where I do my grocery shopping. Been going there for years. And then we're coming up on the, I guess what used to be the High-Low Value Master NCB Plaza, but NCB and High-Low moved, so that's no longer there, and that place is being refurbished. And this is called Church Corner. As we move through the West End. Just cruising, and this is the Negril Library on the left, and then followed by Negril All Age School. And then this is another hardware store on the left. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'm just flowing with it, and as I see things, I'm going to point them out to you. On the right is the Negril Yacht Club, which is for sale. Hopefully, should be doing a video on that hopefully sometime soon. Canoe Bar is on the right. It's pretty much the only property on the west end that has a beach. Good food there. Haven't been there in a while either, but their food is pretty good. That used to be German bar, but I don't know what it is now. But boats used to pull up there. They used to have really good pizza. This used to be Boat Bar on the right, but it changed into something else. I'm not sure what it is now. And then Millard is on the left. And if you know Millard, that's 24 Hours Place. Good food as well. And then Patsy's is on the right. So they do, I think it's basically the only standalone coffee shop in Negril. And they do good pastries, good lunch. I did a live stream from there and also did a video with them as well for the channel, which was cool. This is Ocean Cliff on the right we just passed. I did the farewell dinner there for Throp X 2022. Beautiful property, formerly known as the Spa Retreat. But beautiful property, great food that we had there for the farewell dinner retreat. And here on the west end, like, it's a very different experience than the beach. As you can see, like, it's very, it's I wouldn't say secluded, maybe too strong of a word, but definitely when you're on the properties, it's a little bit more secluded and separated, as compared to the beach, where there's just more traffic and no real, I guess, super separation between the properties. And sorry, cut that short, everyone. Want to hop right into the video today. Happy Friday. I hope everyone had a great work week. And I know some people have a long weekend to look forward to. I do not. I have a long working weekend to look forward to, as I do every weekend. And of course, this is part of the added weekly live stream that I'm doing on Fridays for Throp X. And I love these. It's an extra bonus time to spend with you all, to chat, to catch up, and to continue our discussions of how we're going to move Jamaica forward. And of course, bring to you some investment opportunities, particularly in real estate. And so today we are going to go right into the video subject matter, because I like to keep these short and spicy. And I want the opportunity to open up the discussion to you all as quickly as possible. So let's cut this music real quick. Okay. So today's discussion is really a continuation of a discussion that we've been having in respect to really the workforce in general here in Jamaica. And we've been having this ongoing discussion of just bringing a little bit perspective into assessing where we are, if you will, as a nation and as a country, and then also talking about where we would like to see ourselves and where we'd like to go, different industries and everything like that. And of course, I mean, I best essentially in the existence of this channel, or at least the subject matter this channel has been addressing, there's always been these calls for an increase in wages in Jamaica, which I don't think many people argue against, so to speak. And something we all want, you know. And essentially throughout our discussions that we've been having over the last few weeks, at least maybe I've been talking with you all more than anything else, is the discussion of like, how do we, or the importance of really making us a more valuable workforce as a whole, right? And that's what we've been talking about these last few weeks, and the importance of doing so, because as we say, or at least as I've been saying, is, you know, to the market is saying, as an example and an analogy, don't kill me for this, like if somebody is, we're paying somebody $5, or so the market is saying this individual is worth $5 per hour, and we as a society like, oh, we everybody's saying like, hey, let's increase minimum wage, and that person should be paid $10, right? And globally, and how that person and the market sees that person, they're seeing them as a $5 per hour worker. And then we as society say, because of everything's going up, we're just going to give them $10, $10, and we're doubling what we are compensating them. But did they double the value and what they're bringing to the market? And so that's, in a nutshell, what we've been talking about on these last few live streams. And the last point before we get into the video is that in doing so, and so in that example aside, and if we were to go the other route and just say, hey, let's just increase the minimum wage or increase wages 30% across the board or whatever it is for the sake of doing so, what do you think that's going to do? That's automatic, and we've been saying this over and over and over again. At least I have on my live streams. Like, that is just going to increase everything else, and that 30% eventually, due to inflation, we're going to be back at square one. And so, the important thing, I think, and the way that we should be thinking about this is, and it's more long term, and of course, it doesn't solve the problem here and now. Like, groceries are more expensive, gas is more expensive, et cetera, et cetera. But there has to come a point where it's like we have to make our workforce more valuable in the global market, and we have to create opportunities to do so. Because again, if we just increase wages for the sake of increasing wages, that's just going to make everything more expensive, right? And so it's just like if we were here at the hotel or my business or whatever it is, and if we were to just double what we pay out to, I mean, and it's not just our employees, like we would be doubling what we're paying to vendors, because they would also have to double what they're paying out. And like everything would gonna essentially go up linearly. And again, we're back at square one. And how do we avoid this? To me, it's just like, how do we make individuals more valuable than anything else? And I want to go deeper into that, but let's go into the video here that I want to talk about, which is from let me make sure I got the right one. This is from the Prime Minister, and we're gonna do two videos, and it's crazy. I'm like, man, is he watching us here on the live stream? You know, what's going on here? It was like, because like we were going so hard the last few weeks on this subject matter, like from the Throppers think tank that we do once a month to multiple live streams, just continue to talk about it. And I feel like we're kind of working this out together, you know, and figuring this out and assessing and like really, you know, my goal is like really get a good understanding on this. So anyway, let's watch this video real quick. I'm just gonna reset here, and nope, you probably can't hear that. 1 second, sorry. 1 second here. I'm assuming you can't hear that.
Develop.
There we go.
Without us doing better at mathematics. Days ago to review the results at the CXC exams and to see the level of passes in mathematics. It is of great concern to me. It is not just a social problem. It is imperative for our economic development. The country cannot develop without us doing better at mathematics. The jobs that are paying better and the jobs that we need to attract to Jamaica, which pays better, involve science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. There's a lot of talk that, you know, it's low wage, and we need more pay. Somebody needs to say, and I guess I am the person who will have to say it, wages don't just come out of the sky. You don't just increase wages like that. You know, it's not just a snap of a finger. We've gone through that period. You can increase the wages as much as you want. But if it is not tied to something that is in the real sector, then all we're doing is creating inflation. The wages are tied to what you produce. And the productive sector for Jamaica, if we're going to be bringing in new jobs that are going to be paying higher wages, those industries, if we're going to break from the traditional industries of BPOs and hotels, to start to think now about attracting. I had an opportunity just a few days ago.
Right. So that's essentially it. There's another one we'll get into in a second, but of course, like I've been saying this, and we've been saying this collectively here on this live stream of the importance of thinking, investing, and moving in that direction. And we absolutely, as a country, need to diversify the industries that we have here. And I remember like I did a live stream, I think it was like 2 years ago when it was entitled um what was it called, Silicon Island. That was the name of it, and I was trying to make the case of just Jamaica having, just being perfectly positioned to being a tech hub in the Caribbean. But one of the points that I remember making in that video and on that stream was that was really questioning whether we have the talent here to make it make sense. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the conclusion is the talent would have to come from the outside, because we don't have an army of software engineers. We don't have an army of individuals that can be collectively put together in a group that could formulate a company that could make just these digital products that would impact the world in a disproportionate way coming from the island. But what we did have and do have is the infrastructure to do so. But we just, at scale, we don't have the human capital to do so. And that's just the reality. That's just the reality of where we stood in 2022, or whenever I said that, or even now in 2024. We just don't have the human capital to produce that type of output and product. And I think what the prime minister here is saying and recognizing is that we need to start putting in the work to do so in order to create opportunities for higher wages, of course, but to me it's like a higher quality of life as well, and create those types of opportunities. So, with the whole Silicon Island thing, it's like it would be great and it would be good. And even, imagine having like maybe not an Amazon, but maybe like a Facebook or an Instagram come and set up shop here. It probably strategically wouldn't make sense for them. And again, they wouldn't be necessarily coming here to pull the talent from this area, because again, we just don't have it at scale. But how do we do it in a way that create a country where in 20 years from now, 18 years from now, we could have that army, we could have that army of really highly specialized, very smart, and maybe it's not software engineering, especially with the way that AI is going and everything like that. But even having that education of software engineering, like it makes you think differently. And my friends who are coders and in software engineering, they just think way differently than I do. And like, I appreciate that. And I think bringing that type of thinking to Jamaica at scale, it would do wonders. It would do wonders, and again, create tremendous opportunity. So going back to what the prime minister was saying about STEM, and this is where, to me, this is where it starts, right? So I'm gonna talk about this a little bit more, and then we're gonna go into the second video. This is where it starts, and this is the right direction that we should be heading in. But it's long term. It's long term. Having a STEM program, STEM focus, STEM schools, et cetera, we're not gonna see the dividends of those investments for a very long time, but it's so important. Like, we have to start taking the steps forward to doing so. And I think we're starting to do so. But then now let's bring it back to the here and now, right? Let's bring it back to the here and now. And the here and now is Jamaica is still continuing to do well, and I think people are investing here. Foreign direct investment, like from major corporations, are coming here. and bring in a lot of money into the country. As we talk about Throp X 2024, there's so many opportunities in real estate. But then now let's go down to like the individual, right? And so now you have, let's take a person who is maybe they're 18, just finished high school, and they're coming into the workforce, but they don't necessarily have any real skills. And I'm like tiptoeing around this because there's also like a psychological and emotional aspect of this, and it also ties very much into, and I hate to bring this up in trying to talk about like a positive subject, but it also ties into where young people have there's been a creation of entitlement for young people in terms of having things now and having money now and having a good life now. And to me, that has like we can blame social media. I think that's great and fair, I should say. And that's not necessarily great. I think that's fair to blame social media, but being specific to here in Jamaica, we talk a lot about the scamming situation. And to me, like STEM is a big way to curb that. And I bring up scamming in this sense, and just to bring, I know we talk about this a lot, just to bring a quick context, is that there are scammers that are doing very, very well in Jamaica, and young people in the communities, they're seeing these scammers do well for themselves, and they decide, hey, maybe I can go down that path and I can do that, as opposed to kind of working my way up. So it directly plays into what we're talking about here, especially when we're trying to have long-term thinking, delayed gratification thinking, and discipline. And it just, even going through the education of STEM, you get that ingrained in you as a person who's going through education and going through academia and going through the struggles of studying, maybe not doing well on an exam, and then putting in double the work and getting the results after. Like, all these things play into the psyche of a person going through academia and then trying to eventually come into the workforce and get a job in whatever they've been studying, and hopefully it's one of these STEM programs. So we're gonna watch this video, and then we'll watch this video, comment, and then we'll get to comments. I'll comment, that is, and then we'll get into your comments. So one more video here from the Prime Minister.
STEM schools.
So I'm gonna reset that.
6 STEM schools. That is in the process now of being planned, and financing is being put in place to do that. But these schools will not be run under the current education system in terms of the Education Act, in how those schools are going to be run. We will develop a new scheme of managing those schools, because it is, for us, it is a strategically important program. We need to create very quickly, very rapidly, with guarantees, a generation of Jamaicans who are highly trained in STEM. This is a national priority. We will be building 6 STEM schools.
So, like, it's a national priority, like the Prime Minister said. Like, to me, like, this is everything. This is everything when we think about the future of Jamaica, when we want a brighter future for not only ourselves, but our children and our grandchildren. And if we really mean these words, and if we really take this to heart, like, this is what it is. It has to be this. It has to be just a wild amount of investment in education. That is the only way. And I always say, and I said this multiple times on this channel, is I'm not one to point the finger at the government. I'm not one to say the government should do this, the government should do that. I do my utmost to take personal responsibility for my life, my business, the people around me, and I try to encourage individuals to do so as well. However, this is the subject that I will always point my finger at the government, and that is in terms of wanting more and wanting them to do more, and that is education. And It is without question. It's like a national priority. There is no way on God's green earth that Jamaica is going to change and reach its full potential without heavily and I would even say disproportionately investing in education. And we can have all the pretty buildings and all the fine hotels, five-star hotels, world-class restaurants, all this stuff. It doesn't matter. It will never allow Jamaica and Jamaicans to reach their full potential without having the majority or a large majority of our population at a at a high education level. I mean, making college like the norm and being part of STEM and having a STEM education coming up. There is no other way to change this country. And I was having this discussion earlier with my friend, and he was just saying, like, when you think about it, like when you see like the big announcements that come out of Jamaica, it's all about like these foreign direct investments, these hotels, these new residents going up, which is important. We need it, is good, and we should be popping balloons and having fireworks for all of this. It's important. It's a big deal. But you don't see a lot of that when it comes to education reform, as we were talking about in the last live stream, or even like these types of schools. The Prime Minister just talked about six new STEM schools opening up. But there, like that needs to be something that we are focused on and focused on celebrating more than anything else, because there, I mean, what kind of future can we expect if we're not having the proper inputs now that we can benefit in 20 years? And it's like we talk about crime and we talk about all these things that we're fed up with and frustrated with the country. But again, if we're not putting resources into education, man, I don't know what else that we can expect. Let's hop into some comments here. And Chris, what's going on? Long Island in the house. Reporting from the US Open. You are at the US Open. I feel like we are at the US Open. Awesome. Thank you for bringing us in. Donna, what's going on? Yes, please listen to Donna. Hit that like button. Really does help out a lot. Let's see. Joseph tuning in from Costa Rica. Awesome. I was supposed to be there last year, but couldn't make it. Hope you're having a great time down there. Happy long weekend to you, Donna. Good afternoon, Throp. Good afternoon to you as well. Marilyn Williams. Hello, Throp. I'll be in Jamaica tomorrow, staying for a week. Would love to meet you. I am here. Would love to meet you as well. Blazeworks says thumbnail is bonfire. Thank you very much. You can thank AI for that one. Red Stripe is big up Winthrop and Throppers. Thanks for joining. Urban Spice Kitchen says, I agree. We have a younger generation who are more into tech and choosing careers in that field. Here in the UK, STEM is taught into most high schools. Jamaica needs to do the same. Agreed. In Germany, this is from Red Stripe. In Germany, they have some of the best technical universities for engineering, and one major advantage they have is zero tuition. When Singapore was kicked out of Malaysia, Lee Kuan Yew made sure education was the number one priority. They started out worse than Jamaica, and now they are a giant. Good point. Leonie Brooks says, I agree, education and healthcare investments are critical for the future. And I'm glad like this is coming out. And it's like we need to like press this. Like this is so important. Like we need to press it. And yeah, it's like one of those things. This is like we just know it's like, I wouldn't say like a sacrifice in a sense. Maybe it's a political sacrifice, because within a particular term period, you're not going to get the flowers for it. So like the incentive politically for doing so, it's going to be, it's not the best, it's not like putting up doing a road or putting up a building or something like that. Even building a school itself, right? It's great to build a school, but it's not until that software engineer comes out and starts a revolutionary software company that was born and raised in Jamaica, right? Or, it's not that like these doctors start coming out, and it just takes a long time, but that's okay. That's okay. I think the prime minister talking about it and it becoming part of the national conversation, and we've been talking about it a while. Like, I love it, and I think it's just so important, and just continuing to focus on, again, how do we make Jamaicans more valuable across the board more than anything else. And then I would also say, like, I don't get a lot of young people watching here, but when I do talk to young people, like here, like even in the NEAT program, I always try to, we're talking about the who is it? Somebody just talked about maybe it was Rush. Talking about like younger people being good at sorry, it's Urban Spice Kitchen. We're talking about being good at technology, right? And a lot of even young people, I would say, when I say young people, like in their teens, that sort of thing, they're very good at the social media, on the phones and everything like that. But they do need guidance and they do need mentoring, and they just need to be pushed in like the right direction. And I don't think they really understand even like what I'm doing. Like, there's just so much potential in this. And even if they don't want to put themselves out there like their face or anything like that, they can be valuable to a company like Throp Media, to a company like Travelers Beach Resort, if they possess the skill set necessary that brings value to these businesses. And as young people, I always tell them, like, how do you make yourself more valuable? How do you make yourself more valuable? How do you make a company pay you XYZ dollars for the skill set and services that you have, that you can provide them? Right. And it doesn't have to be. And the greatest thing about the world that we live in today is like, it doesn't have to come from a Jamaican company. There are many people working either for themselves and selling overseas and making their money that way, or they're working for overseas companies, whether it's as a freelancer or for a company directly, but living in Jamaica and earning that US or that foreign currency. And the opportunities exist, but again, the mentorship, the leadership just like isn't there. Like, my mind's like going everywhere with this. Is like, how do we create a program that does so? How do I get the mentors? And it's hard. It's like really, really, really hard. And we can do only so much. And like, this is why I say, like, this is like the one thing that I will always hold the government accountable and then point my finger and say, hey, you can do so much more with education. And because it's like, you can only do so much as an individual. Even like going back to the conversation with my friend that I was having earlier today, it's like he was even saying, like, no matter what type of like association, alumni association that you may have for a high school or a college or whatever, have you given out X amount of scholarships and donating books, computers, blah, blah, blah. Like, it will never have a comparative impact than that of the government and investing tax dollars all over a sustainable long period of time into a school and into a community. And like, that is what's needed. I think you're making individual impacts, like, and I think it's important, like even the work that we do at NEAT, my family's nonprofit organization, the Negril Education Environment Trust. There were so many students that we're incredibly, incredibly proud of, that have gone through our program, that have become pilots, they become doctors, they become engineers. And these are just like what we can do with the little amount of resources that we have right now. And it's like, it's like, it's definitely one of those things, like, it takes a village, but like, we're just so very, very sometimes you feel that you kind of question, like, man, are we really making a like, are we making a big enough impact, right? And for the individuals who have come out of our program, who have become pilots and are doing great things with their lives, yes, they're very inspiring, and it's really what keeps us going. But then, like, when you look at the challenge as a whole from a country perspective, not even a country perspective, like, we're like really trying to focus on our little community here. I mean, there's just so many kids, there're just so many that you like. Even when I visited Negril All Age a few months ago, I'm like, man, like, this is just like really, really tough. And I'm gonna get to the comments in a second. I'll give another example, and like, this is why these schools are like just so important. My friend, and having our conversation, like he and I brought this up before, like he ended up leaving Jamaica because he just wasn't confident in the public education here. And he just knows better. Or we just know better. We gone to school, done like majority all of our education in the States, and we understand what it means to have that type of public education and to be brought up in a very highly competitive system. In America, especially in New York, it's just competition. Like as soon as you get out there, like even from an academic standpoint in the workforce, and like it just don't have that here, like at least at scale. You don't have that here. And one of the reasons why he pulled his kids out was just the teachers. Like he just wasn't satisfied with what they were being taught, the examples that they were giving them, and he started to see certain bad habits in his kids, and he made the best decision that he thought for the future of his children. And I'm just like, man, I can't even blame, as much as I want him to stay here with my friend and everything like that. But he's got to make the best decision possible for his family and for his kids. And so it's like there are great schools. I'm not trying to say like the school system is terrible or anything like that, but like there are great schools here in Jamaica. They're really, really, I don't have any kids in them, but like just from what people tell me. And then also when you do have a standout that does come out of the system and does come out of the school, they do very well. They do exceptionally well. But what the prime minister was saying here, like there just needs to be more of a focus on education, more of a focus on STEM, so we can have maybe it's like a more valuable society. Maybe that's not the correct term, but to me it's just like we have to be able to complete globally as a nation. Like we cannot get left behind, and we will get left behind. And I don't want this, and I keep saying this, like I don't want Jamaica to turn into like a place where it's only non-Jamaicans can enjoy, right? Our Jamaicans that don't are for the people living here, they're not enjoying their own country as much as the people who are visiting here, right? And there will always be disparity. That's just the way the world works. But more than anything else, it's like, man, just want to give everybody like a fair chance and a fair opportunity if they choose to take it to elevate themselves and their family more than anything else. Let's get to some of these comments here. Maxi Press says you ignored me at LIG or LG. Check out the German way. Maxi Press from 15 years. I've told Richard in Germany we have a dual system. Check out my video from the Chamber of Commerce in Germany. The industry needs human resources, and the youth needs to be paid within the system, just like in Germany. Okay, you ignore me. No, I'm not ignoring you. I'm here. I'm listening. Yeah, I mean, there are countless examples around the world of different countries where we can learn from. Somebody brought up Singapore earlier, and yes, and it's not like we have to reinvent the wheel here, and we just got to figure out what is going to work for Jamaica based on the resources that we are able to put into it. How do we source those resources? Where are we taking them from? Are they coming from tax dollars? Are they coming from international help? But it's to me, it's think is going to come from us, because it's our own self interest that we have to invest in, and if we want like a stellar workforce in 10, 20 years from now, it takes investing in our education now, and we have the potential. I mean, when I see these kids, when I go to these schools, when we have them come on our NEAT classes on Saturdays, the potential is there. These are bright young people, but it's just the opportunity, more than anything else. It's the opportunity to get this type of education, and then also a relevant education. I don't know the curriculum that well here, to be honest, but I do know, and like just kind of going back to the education reform live stream that we had last week, I'm confident that there is a need for reform, and I heard talks about this for some time here. Let's see, what other comments do we have? Um, To Brown Girl says 100% agree education investment is critical. And I think we need to focus on our basic infrastructure like our roads. And so even with that, like as simple and as much as we complain about roads, we had a guest check in here yesterday who's saying like, what is going on with the roads? It's terrible. Yeah. And I will say like, this is probably one of the worst I've ever seen the potholes from here to Montego Bay. Like it is horrendous, horrendous, horrendous. Anyway, but we got to think of, and I always think back to kind of bringing this as Maxi Press brings up Germany. I think back to this man. I listened to this podcast. This must be like almost 10 years ago. It was podcast or YouTube video, and they were talking about how maybe it was a book. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They were talking about like how Germany became so good at soccer, and they were one of the worst nations. I don't know, however many decades ago, and what they did and how they turned that around and became a world leading, if I'm not mistaken, World Cup champion nation in soccer or football, is they invested so much into soccer itself, but not just like directly into soccer, like with coaches and balls and that sort of thing. Is they invested in fields, so they had soccer fields like even in the most remote parts of Germany. And then one of the main things is that they invested in roads. So they made sure that the access to either the new fields or the existing fields was there, and that was like a big part of like getting kids to like soccer practice and being able to get there and like not going on dirt roads or maybe having to walk for extended periods of time. And like psychologically it would be like one of these hurdles or deterrents for you to go to play soccer. And so like I think of that, I always think back to that example of just like the importance of having good roads, because I don't know, it'd be interesting to know, I don't know if they have the statistic, like what the national average of school attendance is and in Jamaica, right? Because I feel like I gotta go soon. I feel like that is something that has to correlate with a nation's success, right? Or the nation's level of their workforce. It's just like, how many days on average do students go to school, or how many hours per year, grade K through 12, do students go to school? Like very, very, very important statistic. And here in Negril, like I always talk about the Get Kids to School program. And I remember like one of the motivations, one of the inspirations for starting this is that like kids couldn't afford the taxi fare to get to school. And like that's a crazy excuse. And I can't even say it's an excuse, but it's a reality, but it's a crazy excuse not to send your kids to school because you as a parent cannot give them taxi fare. And the other thing is the Rotary Club and the Marigator having got together and bought a bus to give them transportation to these kids to school, is they didn't have enough money for food. And so they started a breakfast program because like if you go to school hungry, like how much can you learn? And it's like you just think about like all these examples and you can extrapolate it out to the larger population. And it's just like, if you didn't have a program like Get Kids to School, like those kids, like how many, like what would their percentage of attendance in school be? 30%, 40%? Like who's to say? It wouldn't be the 90%, let's say, that it is now on average, right? And if you have a group of people only going to school 40% of the time, and where they are like, even if you're putting in like, let's do hours, and the students should be going to school 100 hours per year, and they're only going 20 hours per year. Again, what kind of workforce do we expect to be having? Like what kind of value, really, like potential value, could they be bringing to society as they move into the workforce? And it's just, and the inputs are just like really set up, like really, really set up backwards in that sense. And it's just like one of those things, like we have to mitigate against kids not going to school for whatever reason. For whatever reason, how do we bring that down? How do we increase attendance at the same time and have these discussions about education reform? Two Brown Girl says, "Would love to know more about NEAT. My family has never created a foundation, but has given much of to the community, both under the radar and publicly." Yeah, you can go to neatja.com. I'll put it right there on the screen, and to get more information. And yeah, you could check it out and contact us directly on the socials or via email. All right, let's keep rolling here. Rich, I just Googled why Singapore education is so good. The results said that they focus on three subjects: English, math, and science at all levels. There you go. Hey, Sakura, what's going on? I know we got a call a little later. Alfonso Worth says, Throp, what's up? The STEM schools is a national emergency. We can't attract high quality industries to Jamaica without highly qualified workforce. Yes. And this is like, I think it's important that we continue this discourse, right? And we continue to talk like this, just very honestly. Like, and we cannot be, I don't think we should be satisfied with where we are and where our education system is. It's like we're just not. We shouldn't be. We need to be globally competitive, and we're just not. We're just not. It's like going back to the live stream that I had the other day. Is like when you think about it, and I asked everybody who was on the live stream last week, like, what is Jamaica known for as a workforce? Like, what are we known for? And I gave examples. I was like, what? Like, do it again. What is Germany known for? You know, what is Mexico known for? And as far as like as the workforce, right? And you think of these different things and the certain things that come to your mind. What is America known for? The workforce, you know, and there's like certain adjectives that come to mind. Um, and I know what I can give you my thoughts on that. And it's just like, okay, what is Jamaica known for? I don't know if we're known for anything. I really can't think of anything. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know what you think, you know? And I feel like we can create that. Like, oh man, they're known for their software engineers. You know, they're like incredibly good at this. Like, what is India known for? Like, right? Um, and I think we have that opportunity to create a future that says like, hey, we're known for robotics. I don't know whatever it is, but like a diversification in education is the only way we're going to have like a real diversification in industry, and like, and hopefully it's in industries created by Jamaicans. I think the opportunity is there. Saka says, how are tax dollars utilized in Jamaica? Property tax, how are those funds allocated? Well, they go into the national coffers, I guess. And but they have a budget every year, and they talk about what they're going to put X amount of dollars in every year. So I don't know specific. I can't tell you specifically like where this is going or how much is going, but like it's in the budget debate every year. Lee says, I'm not sure if you saw my comment last week, but is there a set curriculum in Jamaica? Do all schools teach statutory curriculum? Could buying into schemes of work help the teachers? Mass White Rose scheme of work can be used through all stationary school ages and is based on Singapore math. Yeah, there is a set curriculum. There is a set curriculum in all schools, depending on the grades and everything like that. And you have these national exams that you have to take. I think in high school. Vanessa Moore says in Jamaica, the gross enrollment rate in primary education is 96% for both girls and boys combined. This decreases to 84% in secondary school, with a student transition rate to secondary school of 95%. Um, please explain that. There's a gross enrollment rate in Jamaica. The gross enrollment rate in primary school is 96%. I was looking for attendance. I don't know what enrollment rate is. Does that mean that 96% of what? 96% of school-aged individuals are going to school? I'd love to know exactly what those numbers are, like, and dive into that a little bit more. This is enrollment, not attendance. Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, again, what population is that? Again, is that 96% of primary age students are in Jamaica are enrolled in school? Alfonso says, Throp, what do you think about Dr. Nigel Clark going to the IMF? I remember we had a discussion about his brilliance. To tell you the truth, I had mixed feelings. I'm proud of his achievements, but I think let's see, a huge loss for Jamaica. Yeah, this is what I'm going to talk about on Sunday. You, I mean, I agree with you. It's a double-edged sword, like, but definitely going to get into this on Sunday. Um, yeah, and I'll just touch on it now. But yeah, definitely, like, there's where you can cut it. It's like it's a huge loss. But at the same time, it's like at some like he can never be in that position forever, right? And I am confident that they are going to find somebody and have his replacement that is just as capable. And he has done absolute wonders. I mean, it's hard to argue otherwise. I mean, just how the country has been managed financially under his responsibility it's just phenomenal. So much so the IMF is like, "Yo, we need you." Right? And so it's like one of those things. He's just a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant individual. I had the pleasure of meeting him at one of the Chamber of Commerce holiday dinners a few years back. It's one like actually when he first got the position, really early when he first got the position, and he has really made his mark. But he has set the country on a trajectory that is really setting ourselves up for generations to come. And I'm sure whoever is the next person that takes on that responsibility will continue down that line and hopefully perhaps even do better than him. And I think that will probably make him even more proud to have his successor do better than him. Right. So they, as far as I know, they haven't announced that person yet. And so we wait to see who that person is. All right. Korean PA's consolidated fund. I think you've given me that word before, as well as a matter of fact. Yes, yes, yes. Consolidated fund. That's where all the taxes go to. Vanessa Moore says Jamaicans are known for taking pride in whatever job they do, likely 10. We're the capital of culture. And in my opinion, most of our workforce is focused on defining and building on the culture. Sacro says Jamaica is known for music. Yes, yes, yes. I agree with all of those. I agree with every single one of those. And and I think that's great, and I think that's very valuable being known for culture, being known for our food, being known for our music. It has absolutely have had a disproportionate impact on the world given the size of our country and the population size as well. And it's incredible the impact that this country has had in that respect. What about the workforce? What about the workforce? So and imagine how powerful of a country we would be in and having both of those. Um, there's very, there's very few countries that have that. I mean, and most of those countries that I'm thinking of, it's like America having like this global impact from an industry entrepreneur workforce aspect, but then also culturally, um, with American, I would argue, say Black American music, is really have like a real impact globally. But it's the richest nation in the world, right? So what else can you expect? So, but yeah, again, like using our little island as an example, imagine having the global cultural impact that we do, and then also having like just incredibly, incredibly crazy, crazy workforce behind it. Unstoppable, unstoppable. Saka says, if the education systems aren't improved, the infrastructure of the country will always depend on foreign investments and involvement in areas. This places the country and people at a disadvantage. Absolutely, absolutely. And we don't want that. We want to be able to hold our destiny in our own hands and move towards a future in which we as a nation can do so. I think it's just so important that we move in that direction. And I think we are, at least with these discussions that we're having and the prime minister talking about this and addressing this nationally. I think it's super important, super important. Jessica, what's going on? Good evening, Throppers. Greetings, beautiful people. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys. What's going on, Shauna? And shout out to all my channel members and Patreon members. I appreciate you all. And I gotta run real quick. This is not a normal 3-hour live stream that we do on Sunday. This is our Friday Throp X live stream, but that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, and continue this discussion. And I'm glad we continue to talk about this because I think we just need to just always have this front of mind education. Like, how do we increase the global market value of our workforce? And we have so much potential, so much potential. And I love talking about these things, and I love to dream about the possibilities of what this could look like, even brainstorming what we can do to make this happen. And so I thoroughly enjoy discussions like this. And I would love to get somebody else's perspective on literally live and have a discussion and to learn and hear their perspective and have a dialogue about this. And I think you would get a lot of value out of that. So we're trying to figure out how we can do that. Please listen to Chris and click that like button. Really helps out a lot. So proud of you. Have a blessed evening. Thank you. Johnny Johnson says Jamaican people ownership of its intellectual property rights are struggling to control, still owned by non-Jamaicans. I've heard that. Vanessa Moore, always happy to be part of the think tank. Yep, I appreciate you all, and I appreciate all of your feedback. Okay, we're gonna close it off there. We're coming back on Sunday. We're gonna do the live stream, our usual Sunday live stream. And actually, no, it's I don't know what time. I forgot. I'm gonna be on. Let me see. It's on RJR on Sunday. At 1:33. Very specific. So we're going over a little bit more than an hour. I'll be on RJR. So if you're in country, I think you can listen to it over the internet. But yeah, chime in. I'm going to be talking about. We're going to be actually going we're going to be going kind of deep on a lot of things and talking about a couple special things happening with Throp X. But I think you all know everything by being on these live streams. So after I do the radio interview on Sunday, again starting at 1:33 p.m., then I will come on and we'll do our normal live stream. So it's supposed to go to 2:57, but is it 2:57? Something like that. But after that, then we'll get into our normal Sunday live stream. Anyway, thank you all for hopping on this Friday live stream. I will see you on Sunday at some point in time. Have a great weekend and see you Sunday.
Jamaica finds itself on a transformative journey. The government has committed billions of dollars to infrastructure improvements over the next 5 years, including highways, bridges, hospitals, and water systems. But it's not just the government. Major private sector investments are flowing into the country like never before. Billions of US dollars are being poured into residential projects and commercial developments. The economic indicators are undeniable, showing a positive path for Jamaica's future. Now is the time to be a part of this growth. You don't want to miss out on the opportunities unfolding before your very eyes. Enter Throp X 2024, Jamaica's premier real estate and investment conference. Taking place from November 17th to November 22nd in Negril, Jamaica. Throp X is your portal to understanding the investment opportunities available throughout Jamaica. Learn from the experts driving Jamaica's economic success and uncover its potential for yourself. Whether you want to learn how to purchase property in Jamaica, network with top-tier practitioners, or explore what it's like to live and thrive here, Throp X is the place to be. Join a community of like-minded individuals and be part of a group of potential investors ready to grow with you. Join us at Throp X 2024, where all your questions about living, investing, and thriving in Jamaica will be answered. Secure your future, embrace the journey, and see you in Negril. Register now at thropx.com.